Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be responding to one of Glenn's recent video where he reacted or where he responded to the comments, a very interesting comment by a guy named Adam in one of his most recent Substack articles. And I think the points made by Adam were very interesting and you're going to love this. So let's get into it.
Hello there, Glenn Loury here of The Glenn Show. I am recording an audio note. I will occasionally be doing this kind of thing, and I want to record for posterity an exchange I had in the comments section at the newsletter at Substack with a reader and a viewer who had some interesting things to say. The backdrop of this is John McWhorter and I, in our bi-weekly conversation, have taken up the theme of systemic racism. The way we pose the question is, imagine someone in my class who's objecting to the way I'm teaching about racial inequality. We called her Simone, and who insists that we haven't given systemic racism a fair chance. And we ask ourselves, John and I do, what would we say to Simone? And so in my last conversation with John posted at the website, we took up that question. Adam, a viewer, wrote as follows: as fun as it is to listen to Professors Loury and McWhorter riff on the factual failings of the historical empirical arguments put forward by the elect, the title of John's book, it seems they're missing some of Simone's strongest potential counter-arguments. When Professor Loury says no one is coming to save us, a savvy and somewhat heartless Simone could have replied with, that's simply not true. At least for a certain value of us, look how the pose of black helplessness and prostration, whether warranted by the historical facts or not, has conquered the commanding heights of American culture and policy. Look at the set-asides in every elite institution, from education to corporate America to politics, that we've won for ourselves, including preference and overrepresentation in securing governmental posts. Look at the moral dominance of our narrative that it exerts over CEOs and presidents. Look at how elite media bends over backwards to accept our version of even the most implausible narratives. Jesse Smollett, Karen in the Ramble, mostly peaceful protests, etc., and even invest new justifications for our narratives. Look at the extensive and lucrative diversity training industry we have created for ourselves out of nothing. That's now extracting significant rents from just about every major institution. Look at our overrepresentation in culture and entertainment. What does it matter if we lack some intangible dignity right now? The suburbs of Atlanta and Houston and a dozen other cities are filling up with a new black middle class, as you're so intent on proving with your statistics attacking the racial wealth gap. This moral pose, this bluff and bludgeon that you deride, has wealthy, progressive white America bending over backwards to elevate black identifying people, all because they want to get one over on conservative rubes and cleanse themselves of the spiritual taint of racism. And you want us to throw all of that away? No. That would be wasting one of, if not the single most effective tool for elevating the material circumstances and intangible social status of people like me that has been devised in the history of this country.
That was a fantastic response. That was a fantastic question by this Adam guy. I mean, if I was Glenn, this question would have maybe stumped me a little bit, because the thing is, why change a winning strategy if this strategy is winning, if it's getting black people what they want, if it's helping them, if it's elevating them, if it's increasing the reach of black influence? Adam is asking, why change that strategy? What is wrong with that strategy? Because after all, groups are going to further their interest, and if it's in the best interest, if this strategy is serving the best interest of black people, why change it? So I believe that's the crux of the question that Adam is asking. So I'm curious to see how Glenn is going to respond to this very interesting question.
That was Adam. He took a while to say it, but he said it well, and he wonders what Professor Loury and McWhorter would have to say to that. And here's what I will have to say. Well put, Adam. You deserve a response. I guess I'd tell Simone one or another version of that old lyric, Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got its own. I tell her, the white man giveth and the white man taketh away. I'd say that her recitation of wins for victim mongering has given her a false sense of power and security. I tell her to attend carefully to the shifting political winds with backlash against her wokeness being everywhere in the air, with critical race theory under fire, with Black Lives Matter on the wane, with the Supreme Court poised to roll back affirmative action, with the backlash of Trumpism alive in much of the country notwithstanding Trump's defeat in 2020. I'd urge her to attend to the fundamentals, with the black family in disarray, with homicide through the roof in much of Black America, with yawning academic achievement gaps and so forth. I suggest that many of her white allies, including the Democratic Party and corporate America, are fair weather friends at best. Finally, I'd say look at the Asians, or better yet, at the Jews. I'd say that the lesson of history for marginalized groups is that having command over wealth created by your own hands, intellectual mastery over the substantive foundations of the modern world, and a social structure which ensures these assets can be recreated by your own people and future generations, this is the only kind of equality worth having. I'd warn Simone that to strive to be patronized and pitied is to surrender one's dignity and to betray one's heroic ancestors whose struggles against far worse odds than we now face made it possible for us to achieve all that this great country has to offer. That's how I would respond to Simone, were she to have put Adam's question to me.
Now, that was a brilliant response. I mean, I couldn't have put it in a better way. I don't think anybody could have put it in a better way, the way Glenn had responded to this thing. Now, to put my own thoughts into this, you might be getting these things, but these things you are getting, they are external to you. The forces controlling whatever you're getting, they are actually outside of the black community. You're riding on possibly the guilt of those in power, you're riding on the sympathy of those in power, or you're riding on trying to influence those in power somewhat in a way that is not so organic to be able to get these things. And power shifts. And those people, especially Democrats, are giving you these things because they are cutting you, they're giving you these things because you are relevant to them retaining political power. What happens when you're no longer relevant to them having that political power? So I think that it's a house of cards, and I think it might come crashing down anytime soon. Not only because black people may not always be this politically relevant, there might be other racial groups that might be much more relevant in the future to the politics of America, and these parties or these political parties might want to cut those people instead. So what happens then? You've lost all your cards, you've lost all the influence you have had because you've not built any real power. You've not built any real power because on the short term you think this is working, so you just want to continue this strategy. So I think that even though the strategy might be working, I think that it's not the best strategy to retain power for the black community. And also there might also be backlash from the racialized white people, because if they see it as a sort of an attack on them, and that the black people are getting everything they want, even those things that are warranted or those things that are unwarranted, it's going to lead to a backlash. The leaders might be taking it, but the ordinary white citizens and the ordinary everyday citizens who might see it as an attack on them might not want to take it, and it might lead to things that you cannot control. So while I believe that the strategy, as Adam has put it, as Simone would have said, that this strategy is working, why bother changing it? But I think a much more sustainable strategy is needed to be able to build black power, because just riding on the narrative of oppression and victimhood and sympathy and all that just rubs me the wrong way. It just feels also wrong. So, well, that's my thoughts on this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also follow me on Substack, because I write on Substack. And also don't forget to get my crime fiction novel, which details some debates on race and colonialism in Africa. So until next time, remain awesome.